Have you ever been lying in bed, perfectly healthy, everything fine, and suddenly your brain whispers, "You're gonna die someday"? Not in a philosophical way, in a real way, a visceral way. Your chest tightens, your throat closes. The ceiling above you suddenly feels like a countdown clock. You're not afraid of dying in a plane crash. You're not afraid of illness. You're just afraid of ceasing to exist, the ultimate unknown. That's Thanatophobia, the fear of death itself. And if you've ever felt it, you know it's not just sadness. It's a biological hijacking. Today, we're going inside the brain to find out why you're afraid to die, and more importantly, what your brain is really afraid of. I am your host, and this is Anatomy of Fear. Let's start with a study from Harvard 2026. Researchers put people inside an fMRI and asked them one simple question. Think about your own death. What they found was surprising. It wasn't just the amygdala, your fear center, that lit up. The default mode network activated strongly. The default mode network is what runs when you're doing nothing, daydreaming, thinking about yourself, remembering the past, imagining the future. When you think about death, your brain doesn't just feel fear, it tries to narrate it. It asks, what will happen to me? What story is left unfinished? And here's the problem. The default mode network is designed for continuity. It weaves your past, present, and future into one coherent story called you. But death is the end of the story. The default mode network cannot process an ending, so it loops, it repeats, it creates anxiety disguised as meaning. This is why Thanatophobia isn't just fear, it's existential claustrophobia. Right now, try something. Take 3 seconds. Breathe in, hold, exhale slowly. Now ask yourself, what am I actually afraid of right now, in this moment? Not tomorrow, not 40 years from now. Now. If you're honest, the answer is probably nothing. Your body is safe. You're breathing. The lights are on. Thanatophobia lives in the future. It doesn't exist in the present. And your brain can only feel one thing at a time. If you anchor yourself in the now, the future loses its grip. That's not a cure, but it's a lifeline. Why did evolution give us a brain that tortures itself with its own mortality? Stanford 2025. Researchers studied temporal perception in people with thanatophobia. They found something strange. Their brains literally process time differently. When you're afraid of death, your brain overestimates empty time. Silence feels longer. Waiting feels eternal. Because silence and waiting are micro-experiences of nothingness. Evolutionarily, this made sense. Your ancestors needed to avoid anything that felt like death. Stillness, isolation, darkness. Those things meant predators. But your brain generalized. It learned any experience that resembles non-existence is dangerous. So now boredom triggers panic. Quiet triggers panic. The pause between thoughts triggers panic. You're not afraid of death. You're afraid of the absence of experience. And here's the evolutionary trap. Your brain cannot imagine its own absence. Every time you try, you're still there, imagining it. So death becomes a prison you can never leave, even though you've never been inside it. UCL 2024. The hippocampus, your memory center, shows reduced volume in people with complex trauma and death anxiety. Why? Because the hippocampus is also responsible for contextualizing threats. If your hippocampus is compromised, every thought of death feels like the first time. It doesn't get filed away as old news. It stays fresh, raw, terrifying. So how do you rewire a brain that's trapped in its own ending? JAMA Psychiatry 2025, a 21-day protocol for specific phobias, showed 67% symptom reduction. Not elimination, reduction. Enough to live normally. The protocol had 3 phases. Week 1, journaling of legacy. Not your fears, your impact. Every day, write one thing you did that mattered to someone else. A sentence, a moment, a kindness. Why does this work? Because the default mode network doesn't just ask what will happen to me. It asks, did I matter? If you can answer yes, the loop loses power. Week 2, controlled exposure. Not to death, to content about death. Documentaries, obituaries, philosophical texts, but with a rule: you must stay in your body while consuming them. Feel your feet, feel your breath. The content becomes safe because your body stays calm. Week 3, meaning reconstruction. You literally rewrite the narrative. Not, I will die and disappear, but I am part of a chain. Energy, matter, memory. My body will return to the system that made it. This isn't spiritual bypassing, it's neuroplasticity. You're building new pathways that compete with the old ones. Molecular Psychiatry 2024. Genetic markers associated with Thanatophobia sensitivity. Some people are literally born with a lower threshold for existential fear. Their COMT gene, which regulates dopamine in the prefrontal cortex, runs slower. Translation: their brains can't dampen scary thoughts as effectively. The fear sticks. But genes aren't destiny. The same study found that environmental factors, specifically narratives received in childhood, accounted for 40% of the variance. If you were told death is going to sleep or going home, your brain encodes it differently than if you were told it's the end or judgment. The solution isn't to unlearn your childhood. It's to update it with adult neuroplasticity. Johns Hopkins 2026, Somatic Markers of Unprocessed Trauma. When people with death anxiety think about mortality, their bodies show measurable responses before their conscious mind registers fear. Heart rate variability drops, skin conductance rises, pupils dilate. The body knows before the mind does. This is why talk therapy alone often fails for Thanatophobia. You can't reason your way out of a bodily response. You have to train the body first. So, what's the takeaway? Your fear of death isn't a weakness, it's a feature. A brain so sophisticated it can model its own absence. A mind so complex it can ask, what happens next, even when there is no next? But that feature became a bug when your brain started treating every thought of death like an active threat. The solution isn't to stop thinking about death. It's to change how you think about it. From end to transition. From loss to legacy. From alone to part of everything. Caltech 2025. People who practice mortality salience, thinking about death regularly, intentionally, show increased activation in the prefrontal cortex and decreased reactivity in the amygdala over time. They become less afraid by looking more directly, not because they've solved death, because they've solved the fear of thinking about death. In our next episode, we go deeper into the hippocampus, into the body, into the question that haunts every trauma survivor.
Why does my body remember what my mind forgot? We'll explore somatic therapy, interoception, how to feel without drowning. But for now, here's what I want you to remember. You're not broken for fearing death. You're human. And being human means carrying the weight of knowing you won't last forever. But you don't have to carry it alone. You don't have to carry it silently. And you don't have to carry it every moment of every day. This has been Anatomy of Fear.